Hello, everybody. Welcome in to the NBA Front Office Show. It's Friday. You know what that means.
Front Office Friday! I ain't no Clint Capela edition.
Oh, no. Can you beat Clint Capela? Because that would be better, DeAndre. And what the hell, man?
I got some KS Crunk juice. Let's go.
We've got props on this show now. I love it. I love it. My God.
What a stupid series of comments that was.
Just be Clint Capela. Like you would be so much better if you were Clint Capela.
Yeah. Yeah. Tell me about it. Yeah.
He'd get like a big like not big, but like he would get millions upon millions of dollars this summer if he was just a 27-year-old version of Clint Capela.
Yeah. Yeah. Without a doubt. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, it was so funny. Like it felt like he was like getting one off, and like Clint Capela and was like, why am I catching strays? And then also it's like, dude, just if you were Clint Capela, like you'd be really good. Like Clint Capela was awesome for a few years.
I thought it was funny that, especially with what, and I don't want to I've talked plenty of DeAndre Ayton, but I thought it was funny that like what Clint Capela represents is the baseline level for what most NBA teams want from a big, right? Yeah. Like set screens, roll hard to the rim, rebound, protect the paint, right? That's the job. That's the baseline requirement for every center in the NBA. So to say like, I ain't no Clint Capela. Okay, so you don't do the baseline level stuff that you need to do. You don't get to do the more fun stuff. You don't get to do I'm going to show off my jump hook, or I'm going to take the little 10-foot push shot. You don't get to do that stuff if you don't do the baseline stuff that gets you on the floor.
Yeah. Yeah. Or let me show my handles and my jumper here. Yeah. It's not great. Yeah.
So just making fun of my voice. I am still I'm feeling mostly better, but my voice has been going out a bit today from being sick. I don't know, Keith. I'm gonna have to record Smelly Cat, I think.
There you go. That's how you do it. You gotta get it on tape now while you sound funny.
Right. So all right. Guys, as always, the Friday show, Front Office Friday, this is your show. So you guys fire off your questions, your comments, your thoughts in the chat. You guys are going to direct where we go on today's show. We'll get into anything you guys want to discuss. We've got a super chat here from MJ starting things off. So Front Office Friday, who is the worst Lakers trio? AD, LeBron, Russ, or Luka, LeBron, AR? Come on, I mean, I get it.
Lakers sound bad. You see his avatar? It's the Ben Affleck.
Oh God,
I think it's Luka.
It's the Ben Affleck, but he's wearing a Lakers hoodie. Oh my God,
that made me laugh.
That is funny. That's funny. And of all people, too, Ben Affleck, right?
Yeah. Noted
Boston fan, right? Wearing that. In fact, to the point where he wouldn't wear a Yankees cap in one of his movies.
Yep.
Like shut down production because you expected to compromising by wearing a Nets cap. I don't remember what the movie was.
Yeah, I don't remember either. Matt Damon was in the same boat too.
Yeah.
Boy, that's even a question we have to think about is rough. I don't know. I'll say AD, LeBron, and Russ because we know that didn't go well, and the book hasn't been written fully on Luka, LeBron, and Austin Reeves.
It's AD, LeBron, and Russ by far. Yeah. It's not. I mean, those were nightmare years. Those were. There's a lot of frustration right now, but this team has hit some levels offensively in games this season where that AD, LeBron, Russ trio never. Got there. It's not working. Don't get me wrong. It's not good. We're talking about comparing two bad things here with what we're seeing right now. But AD, LeBron, Russ was a disaster. Nowhere compared to where they're at right now.
No, yeah, it's not. Yeah, I mean, that was really bad.
Yeah. So. All right, let's go here. Even with the Kawhi-focused punishment, is there still a chance Bomber can be suspended or forced to clean the 50-plus toilets at a tour? I think there's more than 50, isn't there?
Yeah, there's 1,400 toilets.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's got to be more than 50.
Bomber probably has 50 toilets in his house. Never mind in his arena.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Anyway, so is it possible? But yeah, it's still possible. We don't even know if it's going to be that. That's just the rumor is that it's going to be more Kawhi focused. But sure, I mean, there could still be a suspension. There could be
Yep.
the other things that could still happen. I think all of that is still possible.
Yeah, without a doubt. And there's been some pushback on some of that too, that it'll be more Kawhi focused. A couple people have said, hey, that's what we have, heard it could be. Not that it will be. I think people
Right.
jumped on it. I think this has gone on so long that I think people are now just like, what is the news? What is going on with that? We got a handful of Kawhi related questions here, so that we'll probably get into throughout the show. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I just looked it up. 1,400 toilets there.
1,400.
So, yeah, and over 120 restrooms. Which again, his whole thing when he built the arena, there's like minimal TVs on the Kong. He wants people in their seats, right? Like
Right.
that was the whole thing, which is in theory, great idea, right?
Yeah, it is. It is indeed. If the Lakers buy out DA, how does his option impact LA's cap room? What if a team picks him up?
Yeah, so and I assume this is talking after this year because they're not gonna. I mean, they would be left so shorthanded up front if they did it now. But let's just say they waived him today.
Mm-hmm.
What would happen is he would pick up his option before being waived because that's how that works when it's a player option. When it's a team option, you assume it declined. So he would very likely pick up that option, and that full amount would go on the Lakers' books for next year. But then the Lakers could stretch that if they wanted to. So that's what, 8 million, I think it is.
Yeah, 8.1, I think.
8.1. Yeah, so that could get stretched out at what's that, 2.7 million a year.
Yeah.
So you could stretch that out over 3 years if that was the way it went. The same thing as if he picks it up in the summertime and then they want to waive him, that could go that direction as well. With that, so that's kind of where that would play out. If another team just picked him up off waivers, the full amount comes off the books.
Yeah.
Which no one would do, I can't imagine at this point. So I think if for no other reason you would want to eat 8 million into the Lakers cap space for just because why give a rival team that knows how to use cap space or has used it well in the past an extra 8 million. And then if he just signed somewhere, a very minimal amount would come off the books if he agrees to set off and all the other stuff.
Right.
So
I would expect that waiving him would not be like they would take.
So
if they really decided, hey, we don't want this guy around at all, that type of thing, they would try to move an $8.1 million expiring contract this summer.
Yeah, without a doubt. And maybe it costs them one of they'll have a new second round pick next year.
Yeah.
That they could trade. So maybe that it would cost them that. Maybe they'd have to throw in a minor player at the back end of it, but yeah, you would do what you need to get off that salary versus just waiving it, needing it.
Yeah.
Now, if you got to a point where you needed an extra 5.4 million, yeah, you would waive and stretch them if it was like we can trade for Star X or sign Superstar X. We need that money. Sure.
If for example, like the Lakers didn't, they paid a second round pick to get Jalen Hood-Schifino off their books.
Yep.
But they did that because they were getting Luka in a trade, and they needed to move that money in the deal. Otherwise, they wouldn't have paid that. So yeah, if there was a reason for them to take the pain of the stretched salary, then they would do it. But it would not be because, oh my gosh, we just need to get rid of this guy. It would be because there was something that they were actively going out there and doing.
Yep.
Slow-mo to the Wolves, title contenders.
I mean, I don't know that it changes very much. If you thought they were title contenders before, still are. If you didn't think they were, they aren't. I mean, I'm not trying to be flippant, but
it doesn't hurt.
I think they are title contenders if people stumble. I guess is the way I would put that in the West. I think they're in that second tier of teams behind the Thunder. So sure, I think they can they can get there, but they would need people to stumble at this point.
Let's go here. Could we see the McDonald's championship again, since there's talk of NBA Europe like there was back in the 80s and 90s?
Yeah, I bet there would be a chance. And what Ellison Burley's talking about here, if anybody doesn't know, if they're not old like we are, in the preseason, the NBA would send the champions, the NBA Finals champions, most years would go over to Europe and play a couple preseason games against whoever won whatever the version of EuroLeague was then. I don't think it was called EuroLeague yet, but they would play the European champion, but it was very much a preseason game. And generally, the talent gap was so wide back then, the NBA team would just stomp them. And it wouldn't even be close. But I do think we'll see some version of that if this NBA European League gets off the ground. I think you'll see some version of teams go over to play them in these exhibition games, and very likely they'll come over here as well to the States and maybe Canada to play the Raptors, because they do that now with teams out of Australia come over to the States for preseason games and the like.
All right, let's go. That'd be interesting if that does wind up happening.
Yeah.
Is Kawhi getting his contract voided actually on the table? I mean, we
don't know.
Just have rumors right now. Nothing is official at this point, and people are going to speculate on what could happen. But could it happen? Sure, it could ultimately wind up happening. That is something the NBA could wind up doing.
Yeah, I mean, the only precedent we have to go off of is Joe Smith, and that was 30 years ago.
Yeah.
So I mean, we don't have a lot more to get into beyond that, and this is many times worse than Joe Smith there. So I think it is a place where it becomes I think I would say it's on the table. How likely it is, who knows? That's how I would answer that.
Right. Yeah. I think Keith, I think you've been spot on with when you've been talking about that Kawhi should not, whether it's his contract gets voided or not, this should not be a punishment all on the Clippers.
Yep.
Kawhi has responsibility in the situation as well.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, he was, again, there is the sense of you can ask for whatever you want, but I mean, he knew what he was doing was wrong.
We all know the rules.
Yeah, exactly.
According to Lawrence Frank, even when we're going to ask for a plane. Anyone impress you from college basketball watching during All-Star break? So I was on a cruise ship during the All-Star break. However, I did happen to catch between Keith. I don't know if you've noticed this, but on cruise ships, you get a lot of cricket. There's a lot, and
yeah,
I tried. I still don't understand it.
No,
I'm like watching it, trying to understand, and I don't get. They could be making the rules up as they go, and it would probably look about the same to me. But I did catch LeBaron Philon taking on Darius Acuff. That game was awesome.
Yeah, that game was awesome.
And both I came away from that game, both of those guys going, yeah, those are NBA players. Those are guys that can be difference makers in the league. We'll see, how far, but those are the guys that impressed me. Acuff, I thought was fantastic.
He's rapidly becoming my guy in this draft.
Is he really?
What
is it that you like so much about his game?
I love how competitive and tough he is for
a
smaller guard. He's not afraid to get downhill. He gets inside. He can really shoot, and he's also a high-level passer already. And he's a very competitive defender. He's just small, so that's going to have to be worked around. But he is a very good competitive defender. So I love him. I have him 5th on my board right now.
I was going to ask you where you have him.
Yeah, so I have him 5th behind. I have AJ DeBonsa 1st, then Darren Peterson, then Cam Boozer, then Caleb Wilson, then Darius Acuff. I really like Nate Ament. I think he's played really well. Just to answer the question here is, I think he has done really well coming into conference play. He had really kind of struggled. But this is, you mentioned the two guys you watch go to head to head, Philon and Acuff. I think it is a great draft class if you need a point guard. Yeah. Because you've also got Keaton Wagler is really good as well. So that's 3 kind of top tier talents that are probably going to be mid lottery picks in that range there. So yeah, this is going to be a fun draft class. I'll have more thoughts out there. I'm going to try to get Bryce on to do like a draft show earlier too. So that we can do one. So maybe when we have a little bit of a lighter week and he can make it work, we'll have him on. Maybe ahead of the NCAA tournament. We'll talk about some people to watch in the tournament.
All right, let's go here. Brendan says, interested in your thoughts on Jalen Green and if he can some way fit into what the Suns are doing this year. He hasn't been great in recent games. I feel for Jalen. I mean, the hamstring injuries that have come that have hit him. I think he's still getting into rhythm, but he's a guy. Kind of is what he is in that he'll either be awesome or he'll be awful, right? There's not a lot in between with him because he could shoot you into a game, but he could also shoot you out of games. I think better days are ahead, and he is one of the most fun players when he's on a heater, but he could be frustrating too when he's not, and he's not shot the ball particularly well lately. So I would say just be patient with him because those heater performances I think are coming. But I get the fit concerns. We had fit concerns with him coming into the year. I just don't think what we've seen of him over the last, week, 2 weeks here plus is really, you haven't gotten the fun experience with Jalen Green yet. And I think that's still coming, and that will, I think, change some of the mood around him.
Yeah, tough for Jalen Green, tough for Jordan Ott, tough for the Suns that as he got healthy, Dylan Brooks went down. Then Devin Booker has been out as well. So if you're Jordan Ott, you're sitting here now with 20-ish games or so to go in the season, and you're like, I still don't even really know what my team is, right? Like I gotta kind of refigure all this out on the fly. And then let's say that goes well here over the last month and a half or so of the year. Then it's going to be now I got to work Dylan Brooks back in. These are in some ways good problems to have because Dylan Brooks has been fantastic. But the Suns, they're just in a weird spot with all of these injuries that they've had with all these guys. So yeah, I think Jalen Green ultimately should be fine. They're still very guard heavy when healthy. This Suns team is because you have Booker and Green and Allen, and you've got Colin Gillespie. Obviously, he's played well. Dylan Brooks is a wing more than a guard at this point. But yeah, I think Phoenix is still good. They're gonna. We'll see if they can stay in the race for a top 6 spot, or are they going to kind of fall down into the play-in, and then from there it gets a little tough. But they play so hard and they defend pretty well, so I think they've got a chance to make a little bit of noise.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Jalen Green over the last month. I mean, 21% from three. Like he's what 2 for 15 from deep in his last 2 games. There's better days ahead for him. I'd just be patient for right now and give them time to see. Kind of where all that goes.
Right now, you're getting the Jalen Green that was like, I got this Jalen Green on the Rockets, where it's like nobody else is around, so I'm just gonna take a bunch of crazy shots. I think when you get him back on the floor with better players in town around him, and he slots in more as a second, third option, it'll look a lot better.
All right, let's go here. Does Kawhi have to get voided by March 1st to be eligible to play in the postseason? So the same rules as free agents. Keith, I could see if Kawhi's contract's going to get voided, I could see that coming with a suspension for the rest of the season.
Agreed. Yeah, I think if they void his contract, at the very least, they're going to say you can't play the rest of this year.
Right.
I would be very surprised because they're not going to want to get into a position where then they have to negotiate with the players union. Because I don't know how a voided contract works as far as the March 1st and what that rule is, which is Sunday. If guys aren't waived by Sunday, they're not eligible to play in the playoffs. Again, reminder, people are going to get tired of me saying this. You don't have to be signed by Sunday. You just have to be waived by Sunday if you're currently on a roster. If you were waived like days ago, you're fine. Or like Cole Anthony is getting waived today by the Suns. Mm-hmm. He's fine. He doesn't have to sign anywhere. He could sign a month from now and still play in the playoffs. Just as long as you're off the roster. Voided contract's a little bit different, but yeah, I'm with you. I think if he gets voided, it's not going to be like, hey, everybody, Kawhi's available. Like, and there's, just this, I mean, talk about the all-time greatest buyout player that there ever would be.
That wouldn't be a great look for the league either. If, hey, this guy just broke Adam Silver called it a cardinal sin. This guy just broke our rules. Now he gets punished by getting to join a contender. That's not. That's not the look the NBA is going to want.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a little like, hey, so his team, who is, I think, what are they, still 10th, right, in the West, and struggling a little there in the bottom of the playoff. Yeah, go join the Thunder if you want or whatever. Like, that's
right.
Bad look.
All right. Can the Warriors get Chris Middleton?
They cannot. He makes more than the non-taxpayer mid-level exception, and they are over the first apron. So
Did Middleton get bought? Maybe I
he
missed it earlier.
hasn't.
He hasn't been
So
bought.
Mark
Okay.
Stein talked to him last night, and he said we're still working through all that, and was then very happy the way things have happened in Dallas. I'm happy to be
Right.
here and all that. So I would not count on him getting waived or bought out. Two reasons for that. First is one is he would have to have a place lined up that he's going to that can sign him, right? That would be part one. And then part two for Chris Middleton is he may be looking around and saying, man, there's only now a few teams with cap space this summer. And I'm probably not a target for them. My bird rights are probably more valuable in a potential sign-in trade than it is for me to do a buyout and then just be a pure free agent on the market.
Right. Right. And he needs to be hearing like Team X will pick you up and, there's the word going around right now that D'Angelo Russell is not going to leave the Washington Wizards after all, because if he were to get bought out, there isn't a team out there that wants to sign him. Yeah. So that could be a factor too. If there's not a clear landing spot, and he would be hearing behind the scenes whether or not there is, if there's not, and I'm not saying nobody would want him, but is there a team that wants him that he wants to go to? The preferable option could wind up just being to stay put if, and then you play out the rest of the year in Dallas and so be it. And you go from there.
Yeah. And if you're D'Angelo, that $5.9 million player option for next year, like I'll just take that. Thanks. Like, yeah. Cause he's not going to get that kind of, he's looking at minimums next time around. He's barely played this entire season.
So. Crazy. I thought he was going to be a pretty decent fit in Dallas in terms of a team that was structured to maximize his strengths while minimizing his weaknesses, and it just completely flopped.
Happy birthday to D'Angelo Russell, by the way. Turned 30 yesterday.
Oh, happy birthday, D'Lo. Now we're talking about how terrible your season has been.
Yeah.
but happy birthday.
There's a present for you.
Yeah.
30 years old, man. How
did that happen?
Holy crap.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy.
The Russ trade was unfortunate because the Pacers were going to trade Buddy Hield to LA. Actually, it was the Kings at the time. We're going to trade, or are you talking about there was the Russ trade.
Yeah, it kind of depends on when you're talking.
It depends on which end of it, because they could have traded Russ to, and the Lakers said no on this. They could have traded Russ to the Pacers. From the Lakers to the Pacers for Buddy Hield and Miles Turner, but it would have cost them 2 first-round picks to do it. That was like the night before media day. We heard that was like on the table, ready to go. Lakers just have to say yes, and they ultimately backed away from that. The other one was when the Lakers traded for Russ. They had a deal lined up with the Kings that would have sent Montrezl Harrell and Kyle Kuzma to Sacramento in exchange for Buddy Hield. So Buddy Hield kind of bookends the Russ Lakers tenure in a way, but I guess you can look at it either way.
Yeah, that's kind of that is. I hadn't really thought about that we've been down the Buddy Hield could be on the Lakers multiple times.
He's one of those guys that he's at this point it's never going to happen. It's just
well, and at this point I don't know if you really want it to happen.
No. And I'm saying like there's been a bunch of near misses. A bit of a technical question, but what trades can happen after the deadline? For example, the Pacers-Pelicans pick trade that happened during the finals. Just curious.
Yeah, as soon as your season is over. So whether that be the teams that are eliminated at the end of the regular season, at the end of the play-in tournament, or in the playoffs, as soon as your season is over, you can make trades. Now,
didn't the Pacers make that trade while they were in the finals, though?
They did. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, because that was picks only. So pick trades at any point can happen. Because remember they traded a future first to get their pick back this year.
Right.
From the Pelicans. So picks only, those can happen whenever because there's no players involved. If players are involved, when your season ends. Here's the tricky part though. It works off of this current season's salaries for the salary matching components. But apron rules can trigger into next year. So we remember the Desmond Bane trade happened during the finals as well. And the Desmond Bane trade, when it went down, the Magic had to make a couple other moves for next season, which was, I think, they declined a couple team options in order to fit Bane in under the aprons and all that, just the way that worked out.
All right, let's go here. How do teams how do teams value? My voice is going. Set the value on a draft pick in a trade. Is there a scale or more complex calculations? How do they calculate the value of protections?
Yeah, this is all dependent on teams. There's a version, it's very famous. The NFL has their draft pick value chart, which is like a second and a third equal
Yeah.
the 16th pick or whatever. And I'm probably way off on that. So I apologize, but there's this draft pick value chart. I think Jimmy Johnson was one of the like pioneers of that back in the day when he was trading like everything when he was helping to build up the Cowboys. But it is there is a version of that in the NBA, but you're talking 60 picks in a given draft. So you're never going to be in a place where X amount of seconds is worth a first, really, unless it was like, here's 8 seconds for the 28th pick in the draft. Maybe then a team's like, okay, that's great. We're not going to use the 28th pick anyway. So that's where it is. But it's really dependent on teams. We had Phoenix a couple years ago in a big profile. Now, to be fair, that was under the former front office led by James Jones, which basically are like, we don't really value the draft. It's not, we don't think you build through the draft. We think you build through trades and free agency. And you've had other teams that have said, we value draft picks almost over everything. We believe that's how you build a team. So it's very dependent on team and core roster building belief and all those kind of things. And then protections that's a matter of negotiation, whether you will do them. I know some teams that are like, we're not doing pick protections because we don't want it to be, it didn't roll over, it didn't go. So it rolls and it rolls and it rolls and it just causes all kinds of problems down the line. There are teams that are like, if we'll trade the pick, we'll trade the pick. If not, then we're going to hold.
All right, let's go
Boy's
here.
struggling here. So guys,
I know, sorry.
Show today.
Oh man, it's hit me right now during the show. All right. Let's go here. With the lack of accountability in general in the world right now, it'd be nice to see Bomber, Kawhi, and the flippers, as he calls them, get an appropriate punishment. I think, Keith, if this just winds up being a slap on the wrist, there's going to be a lot of frustrated fans for sure.
Yeah, I do want to caution everyone. We got to be very careful that we don't rush to proclaim guilt too quickly, right? Like, I get it. It all looks very bad. And I think the Clippers did some bad stuff here. So I'm not by any means suggesting they didn't, but they're in the NBA doesn't have to have like clear doubt, right? They just have to have reasonable doubt that's what they want to do. And so it is it's just one of these things where I think I'm with you. I'm with the poster here and I'm with you, Trevor. Like, yeah, if it is there's enough to punish them, then you need to punish them extremely harsh. Like it needs to be enough where it is, hey, anybody else who thinks about doing this, you better think about it second, third, fourth, five, a million times before you decide to go down this route because we're going to really hammer you with this.
Yeah, we don't want coming out of this is teams thinking, oh, that's not so bad. Maybe we'll try doing that. Yeah.
2 minutes, well worth it.
Because there are teams that would. There are teams that would say, "Hey, that's worth it to go ahead and do that." I'm trying to think. We've seen it happen in the past where a team has been punished for doing something and they're for tampering and things like that, and they wind up getting the player. And they're like, "Well, it was worth it, right?" I mean, it worked out. That's why teams will continue doing it. But you can't have if guilt is determined here, you cannot have this be anything that teams look at and say that is an option for us. We'd be willing to pay the price for that.
Yeah, completely agree with that. This one just made me laugh. NBA standard is rational explanation. Nothing about anything Ballmer said came close to rational explanation. Made me laugh because it made me think of Billy Madison, where at no point did anything you
deserve no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Yeah, I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Oh,
it's
everyone in this room is now dumber. Oh, that was such a good one.
That's way up there on the list of his best movies.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, that one was great. All right, let's go here. Can teams waive players? Yes, and they need to do it ahead of March 1st here so that they can that player is eligible to play in the playoffs. But if you wanted to waive a player after March 1st, you can.
Yeah,
You can do it. Just that player would. It's just not common because teams typically don't want to do that to players.
It's more common from teams who are out of the
Yes.
playoff race and buyout season's basically done. Like what happens is you'll see a kind of a little, I'm going to say flurry, but it's not going to be all that many. Couple more waivers between now and March 1st, and then things will really kind of go pretty quiet until we get to like the end of March, and then it'll be all right. There's 2 weeks left in the season. Let's kind of line things up for the playoffs.
All right, let's go to this one. Keith, you should make a separate show that covers the Celtics exclusively.
Yeah. So one, there are more than enough good Celtics podcasts out there. I recommend Locked On Celtics with John Corrales. He does a great job covering the Celtics. I've been asked multiple times to do a Celtics show or to join an existing one. It's not anything I want to do because I don't want to be penned into I watch the game, then I have to do a show after. Nothing. I know you do it every night.
That's what I do.
But like, I don't want to do that. I want to then be able to Celtics game ended, and I go on to the next game and watch whatever was next. Especially East Coast, I go into whatever the West Coast games are and watch those at night. It's not what I want to do right now. I'm not going to say never with that, but it's just not what I want to do right now.
Keith should have as many shows as Trev.
I think I've replaced the writing and other, like you've replaced writing with doing 900 shows a day.
Yeah.
I've replaced like doing other stuff with more writing and projects and other things with that.
There's good and bad to it. There's good and bad to it. There's times where it can be hard keeping up with everything, but I also like being able to talk about a lot of different things and get into a number of different topics and not just be focused on one team. So that's nice to be able to kind of spread my wings a little bit and talk about things around the league, but it does get to be a lot at times. And there's every once in a while, I don't know if you do this too, but every once in a while, I'll be like, man, I should watch a game right now, but I need like a palate cleanse from basketball. I'm gonna take tonight and I'm gonna watch a movie. I put on Wedding Crashers last night after the game. I'm like, I should go and watch some other games. Tonight I'm gonna do a palate cleanse. I'm just gonna throw on a movie or whatever while I'm editing audio and all of that. Because there are times where we're so engrossed in the NBA world. Every once in a while, it's nice to kind of step outside of that for a moment.
Yeah, it takes a lot for me to get there because I know people think I'm making this up when I say this, but basketball is literally my favorite thing. Like outside of my family, it is my favorite thing in the world. And I am, I do enough other things that are like I watch a lot of soccer. I'll watch baseball when it starts up there, but like it takes a lot for me to kind of want to do something different. If our buddy DA Baracus, Keith should set up a new Disney related channel. If there's one thing the world needs less than another basketball podcast, is another Disney related podcast or YouTube channel. You can't even go into the parks now without seeing 15 people shooting some kind of content video, or 15 it's probably more like 50 or 100.
I mean, there's
cool rules on people. Like people were bringing in whole ass suitcases so they could do outfit changes and stuff, and they're like, "No more of this. This is out of control."
Dude, I mean, we went to Disneyland a couple of months ago.
Yeah,
and I mean, we did that. We were watching all the videos. YouTube keeps recommending them to me to watch more. I'm like, man, I'm not set, but I'm not going now. But when we were watching all those, we were strategizing a rope drop strategy and all that kind of stuff. And people get really, really into it. But there are a lot of those out there. That said, if for whatever reason, at some point, you and I were sick of basketball, we could have a pretty sick Disney thing where we could strategize inside the parks. And with all your behind the scenes knowledge and stuff like that, we could turn that in. But there is no way, like we don't have anywhere close to the time to even think about doing anything like that right now.
Yeah, I will also be very upfront. A member of the Smith family still draws a paycheck from the company, so
They probably wouldn't be too happy about
I
that.
need to be extremely careful of doing anything like that. We'll just leave it there.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Flippy's car is green. Drew the duck blue because I've never seen a blue duck before.
Oh man.
Yeah, Obama on another 10-day. Yep. With the Jazz.
O'Doyle rules.
O'Doyle rules.
All right, let's go here.
Banana peels.
Why does everyone talk about the Kawhi situation like he's 100% guilty? At this point, if they're found innocent, no punishment. Casuals will think the NBA is trying to sweep it under the rug. I think there's a couple reasons, and that's most of the, I guess, evidence against the Clippers, or to suggest that the Clippers did something wrong in this situation, has been very, very public. There are two sides to every story, but also when Steve Ballmer went on TV to refute everything and explain his side, it really didn't. He really didn't give anybody a lot of ammunition to fall back on, aside from a lot of, I don't know what happened. I don't know where things went. Whatever the defense is from the Clippers right now, we don't know what that is, right? It's just kind of out there. There's no definitive thing to really point to, whereas there's a lot of things that we could say, oh, well, look at this reporting, look at this and this and this, that would suggest that something wrong did happen. There's not a whole lot out there refuting that. So I think that's part of the issue too, is we don't know the defensive side of things. And when Steve Ballmer went on TV to defend it, he really didn't offer any kind of a defense. So the absence of that information, I think, has been perceived as though it does not exist. And while we don't know that for sure, I can say with all of the stuff that we have heard to suggest something wrong did happen, it all adds up to a lot, in my opinion. It stacks up to a lot of evidence that something probably fishy went on there. Now, this is also right, though. Like, if the NBA does come back and say nothing happened, the court of public opinion is not going to believe them.
100%. I will say this, too. I'm going to start out by saying I think the tons of stuff that has come out already indicates there was wrongdoing here, and probably really bad wrongdoing. And I think they should be punished extremely harshly. If whatever else they've found kind of proves any level of it. But in general, I find we have forgotten that the way, and this isn't the court of law, right? This is the court of the NBA. But in the court of law, we have found that it is you are innocent until proven guilty. It's just gone out the window in society now. Now it is like, nope, something bad about a person came out, so they're awful and banish them.
Guilty until proven innocent.
Yeah, like it's tough. You shouldn't have to prove your innocence all the time. Now, more often than not, most of those things seem to be, yeah, it was really bad and all that. But I just think we want to rush to getting into salacious details and then get into like punishment and all those things. But again, I'm bought into that. I think they did what they're accused of having done, and it needs to be punished harshly. And I'm with you. If there's any punishment, for some people, it's never going to be enough. Anything outside of let's drag everybody out in front of the Intuit Dome and behead them, some people aren't going to be okay with it, right? Because people get weird about that stuff. But I think
about beheadings.
Yeah, right. But I think you're in a place where it's like, yeah, if it is just all right, fine. There's no fine you can really give Ballmer that's going to be.
No, that's the thing.
He's not going to laugh at. So a minor fine and a couple second-round picks, that people are going to get really mad.
Yeah. Yep. And again, all this
is read your super chat that you did calling out another person.
Right. But like, this is a very public thing, right? Where a lot of the evidence has been out there. People are trying to figure out what's what and who's right, who's wrong in this situation, and just it doesn't look good for the Clippers or the NBA or Kawhi right now. I'm at a point where I think there's too much to just brush it under the rug as coincidence, to sweep it aside and say, well, it's just, it just kind of happened to play. It just looks funny, but it's not what it really looks like. I think something probably did go down there. I'm with you, Keith. That said, we'll see what ultimately comes out. I'm actually surprised. Like, we've been hearing for a while now, like this is coming soon. I'm surprised that we haven't gotten anything yet.
I wasn't surprised that we get through the All-Star weekend with the Clippers hosting. I kind of thought that's going to be how that would play out. But yeah, I'm with you now. I thought we might be there. But
what if this could be the all-time Friday news dump from the NBA?
Yeah, there'd be something else. Sunday morning, do it that way. Like
3 a.m.
Yeah, or like 8 a.m. Eastern when like no one is up.
Yep.
So yeah.
Keith, tell people undrafted free agents hitting big never happens. What?
It does happen sometimes. Like, I mean, Austin Reeves is a good example right now. Gosh,
it can happen.
Yeah, I mean, it does happen. I mean, I don't want to lead. I don't want to start making a list, but yeah, I mean, that does happen. Like, it's the same as when people are like, oh, who cares about second round picks? When every year, at least a couple of them go on to be something.
But, yeah, it's always a cool story when you get somebody who, didn't even get drafted and just somehow, pulls themselves up and earns their way into the league. Like that happens.
Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of guys all over the NBA rosters that were undrafted free agents. So,
do you think the KD files are legit?
Yeah,
I haven't spent a lot of time looking into it.
I haven't either, but I mean, it seems
burner accounts and all that.
So sure, like yeah, I guess.
Just
I like when people do this in the chat. Colin Gillespie. Thanks. Like, sure. I mean, he's on. He's talking about undrafted free agents.
Undrafted free agents.
Yeah, and
there it is.
Yeah, we don't need.
He's just throwing a random name in there.
This is like
Charlie Chaplin.
Of dudes will sit around just naming old sports players and like have a great time doing it. Like,
right.
So true. So.
All right. Let's go here.
Right. I'm not going to flag anymore because I want you to get out of here and let you.
Let me rest my voice. What's your guys' prized basketball-related item?
Yeah, I think I talked about this fairly recently. I have my good friend over at Spot Track got me a signed Wembanyama jersey for Christmas last year, so that's hanging on the wall. And then I have a signed Jason Tatum Funko Pop, something that was not gifted to me. I have it's sealed in like a card thing, like a sports card thing, but it's a ticket stub from the last Celtics game in the Boston Garden and the first Celtics game in TD Garden. I was lucky enough to go to both.
Oh, that's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
I've got a ticket stub up there from Kobe's memorial. That's something of mine. I also have a signed basketball by the 82 Lakers. So that's one. The Kobe Memorial one is one of them. I've got a few different posters and things like that as well that are favorite. I named multiple things. So is it fair to assume that any teams are looking to convert two ways will do it before the March 4th deadline to sign new two ways since they'll want to refill the spot?
In general, yes, but you may have one or two guys that kind of play their way into, boy, we really want this guy for the playoffs, and we want to have him for the playoffs. So you may have a handful of teams that do that. Ron Harper Jr. on the Celtics is a good example of this. He probably won't be converted before March 4th because they're probably going to want to wait until they got much deeper in, and his contract won't count as much because they're playing games under the luxury tax line. So I think that's where that they'll do that past March 4th and won't be able to backfill the spot. But at that point, I think they'll be okay.
You see this happen sometimes too, where teams are trying to, by waiting, you are also limiting the amount of money that you're paying that player to. And you may have to wait to a certain point to where teams actually have the ability to sign that player to a full roster spot because you're waiting for that veteran minimum to prorate. The Lakers were doing that a bit last year with Jordan Goodwin. They were burning out his two-way eligibility.
And that's what's going on with Harper in the Celtics right now. So, Yep.
And it's not the end of the world if you, for the last 2 weeks of the season, you can't fill an open two-way spot or what, with Vegas and Seattle.
The point is, right, we'll probably see one of those moves in the next few days.
With Vegas and Seattle on the horizon, if something broke down in discussions, what would be your outside city to get a franchise?
Probably Vancouver.
Vancouver's,
Louisville, maybe.
Yeah. I don't see them going like Mexico City yet.
No. Especially not right now.
Yeah.
There's been some Montreal buzz recently, which has been kind of interesting. Everybody says Kansas City and St. Louis, but those
I was going to say Kansas City.
Those cities haven't put things forward as much as like Vancouver has, as has Louisville. Louisville is like pushing. They want a team badly.
Yeah.
So
let's go here. What's going to happen with Russell Westbrook and DeMar DeRozan?
Probably nothing.
Yeah, do they get bought out?
Man, I don't think so.
Especially if you're Sacramento, you're looking at like DeMar DeRozan would be dead money on your books for next year if you buy him out. Was it $10 million guaranteed, I believe, for DDR?
Yeah. You'd rather just try to trade him.
Yeah. So
people always throw San Diego in there. If the Clippers and Lakers are ever going to be aligned on anything, it'll be that San Diego doesn't get a team.
Yeah.
They're not going to want to give up that kind of stranglehold they have on Southern California.
Can teams buy out a player with multiple years, or do they have to waive in that case? Unclear why teams wouldn't just buy out contracts instead of waive.
Well, I'll answer the last part first. You can't just buy out. Buyout is an agreement. The player has to agree to that. Player has to agree. So the only difference between buyout and a waiver is in a buyout, the player is giving more money. They're giving money back. And some players are like, no, I'm not giving money back. So too bad. And then in a waiver, but you can buy out multiple years left. It's happened before.
Yeah. It can happen. It has happened. In general, teams don't like to do it. Teams, if you're gonna have a player who's a true buyout candidate, typically, and I say this a lot, but you need 3 ingredients. You need a veteran player on a bad team that's on an expiring contract. There are exceptions to that, but those are typically the conditions that you see for a buyout.
I think Blake Griffin was bought out with like 2 years left on his contract, but he gave back a good chunk of money in that buyout. Now, he went to the Nets. It was like completely slipping my mind where he went to, and it was to the Nets.
All right. That's the last of our
just Vancouver. Why would it work this time when it didn't work before? They're better set up this time around. Players aren't as like Vancouver, where is that? Like, I don't want to go there. Vancouver's an awesome city. It's really, really pretty over there. With that, so I think there's a chance they're on the short
on the list,
but they'd rather go just this side of the border into Seattle instead. Seattle and Las Vegas would really have to kind of screw something up at this point here. And then I'll just answer this one real quick. What NBA stadium do you wish to go to next? It'll be the answer until I finally get there. I want to go to Indiana. I want to go to the field house.
Oh, that'd be a good one.
Yeah, it just seems really cool. It was built for basketball. It wasn't built to host other stuff, and then they put basketball in it. Like, it was really built for basketball. So I'm like anytime you're doing that, it would be pretty cool. I would like to see Intuit Dome too, because it does sound pretty cool on the setup there. So but I'm not there's basketball arenas don't hold like the charm of like baseball fields do. Like that it's not, at some point they all start to kind of look a little the same
because baseball fields have their own unique features, right?
You have dimensions, like you have the green monster.
Yeah.
So why Why can't they make a team from Connecticut or Maine or something? Because I'm from New England. There's a team in Boston.
Well, what are we talking about?
You're good. Yeah, and the Celtics would not want teams in Connecticut or Maine. Again, teams want to keep as much of the territory. It's why the Knicks fought so hard on the Nets moving.
Yeah,
because they didn't want, even though they didn't move all that far.
I mean, look at the NBA map. It's all like there's a bunch of East Coast teams.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to go too far down, but why not add an existing city like New York there? They have 2 teams. Chicago, that has been brought up in the past. And Chicago, yeah, obviously support 2 baseball teams, and it is big enough. But the idea is let's expand the markets as well.
Right.
Fill in some of those holes on the map, if you will.
Yes, indeed.
Yep.
Oh, said it's a joke. I'm responding to people saying more California teams.
I was like, wait, where? They're not going to do that.
Yeah,
it's not like that's not a thing. So,
all right, everybody,
go get yourself some crunk juice and then
I need to, man. It's hitting me. I still feel okay, but I could just like my voice is just, man. All right.
Oh,
thank you everybody for joining. I'm sorry we're not at 100% here, but we made it through.
We don't need to play the drop, but Norman Powell is week to week with a grade 1 groin strain.
Oh no.
Yeah.
That's not good.
Yeah, that's not good. So not good. Anytime you're picking up these injuries that, we'll just call it the beginning of March. Not great. So, yeah, so everybody keep an eye on March 1st, Sunday, last day for teams to waive players. March 4th, last day to sign a player to a 2-way. So there'll be some minor back-end roster movement coming on. As far as the stuff goes with, Adam Silver and the NBA punishing the Clippers, who knows? Somebody asked if we would go live. I mean, let's see what it is. If the Clippers are fined and have to give up a second-round pick, no. If it is like stuff we actually need to get into and explain and all that, maybe. And it, of course, also depends on when it happens. If it happens at 8 a.m. in the morning on a Friday, I'm probably not waking Trevor up to like, hey, we gotta go live right now. So, but yeah, we'll see.
All right. On that, thank you everybody. Appreciate all of you. Till next time. See ya and stay safe.